Yeah, I think it's going great. I think
Yeah.
the best part is when we get to this, we talked about the numbers being down, talked about needing to grind. It's just that accountability. It's that group like this, getting everybody together and really motivating because those that aren't part of it and don't have it, at the end of the day, they're missing out and they're the ones that are struggling. Talked about people struggling. That's you don't have it. You're isolated. You're on your own. So this is great.
I know,
Yeah.
Tom, I was thinking the same thing is like, so I get the newsletter from Owen every morning and it was talking about how things are down. And I'm looking at my own branch. And I'm going, really?
Yeah, right.
Like,
We're
yeah, it's like,
someone on here said they, best month of the year and, are
yeah.
in
Yeah.
double digits and things. And again, it's, it's working together. It's motivating. It's competition. It's accountability. And, that's really coaching to a certain extent in a nutshell. You find the play, you run the play, but you be held accountable to it. So
Yeah.
it's,
I don't think it's
Yeah. I was really,
coincidence that the folks on here are having good months.
that's right.
that's what I mean. We're in this bubble. So when the account executive was telling me that, he was like, it was a big deal. Like, yeah, right. Oh, I was like, really? That's weird. Because in our little world, it doesn't seem to be that way. So, yay, go team. We're in this little bubble. So,
Yeah.
hey, Tom, we've been chatting this week about after the call, right? After the yes, after we've had a meeting, agents saying, yeah, sure, sure, yeah, we'll do something together, something like that. And then we've been talking about how do we make sure that that happens or put ourselves in the best position to make that happen. Kind of, what's your thoughts on that? Like, because sometimes they say yes and nothing happens. We've had our first meeting, maybe even the second one, right? So maybe you can even touch base on that. The first meeting's really to get the second, and that,
Absolutely.
yeah,
So yeah,
kind of walk us through that. And what your thoughts are on making sure we get some business out of these people, or when to cut loose.
well, I think it's let's set the stage first and foremost, right? So the initial contact of a sale, getting in, getting that initial meeting is really figuring out, asking questions. I love the Ted Lasso, be curious, not judgmental. Like curious, ask, ask, ask. What's the business look like? Why'd you get in the business? How long you been in the business? How do you get it? Where do you go? What do you do? What's your biggest pain point? What are the top three things that you want out of a lender? And it's just gathering the information. And so that's pretty much that first meeting. The second meeting is, coming up with plans to how can you help solve the pain? How can you provide the value? And really the goal of that first meeting, and again, I'm just kind of recapping, make sure we're all on the same page. That goal of that first meeting is to get that second meeting.
Yeah,
You
see,
want to be able to present to your target, if you will, what you can do to provide value. Why would they want to come to you? And from my understanding, obviously we've kind of gotten through that. You've wowed them with all the different things that you're going to be able to do. You're going to be providing them. I think the key point is in that second meeting is make sure you're catering it to them and their specific needs, not just coming up with things of what you think they want. You've listened to what they had to say. So now we've walked out of that second meeting, and this is kind of where I was assuming we were kind of picking up. You've asked for the business, you've closed. So right, there's four stages, if you will, of a sale. The initial contact, which I think is tough for a lot of people, picking up that phone, but getting that initial meeting, which you've done. The second stage is obviously building the rapport. The third is closing. So now you've just closed them. And the fourth, and this is the one that everyone, you walk out of there, you're on, seventh heaven because they said yes. They said they'd give me a shot. Great. You can't forget about the fourth stage, and that's follow up. And
Mm.
really, at the end of the day, in golf, I'd love to try and play golf, but they said that putting is where the cash is, right? It's drive for show, putt for dough. The follow up is where the money is. And that's really at the end of the day where you're going to succeed. And I think we all fail. We all think a follow up at the end of the day is just putting them on that call list for Monday and just maybe calling them or maybe just texting them. And yeah, I think that's good. And I think you should do that. But it really starts literally when you walk out of that second meeting and get to that car and just, I mean, think about it like dating. Like you really want, assuming you want this. And I think that's the other thing we have to make sure. So obviously the goal is to get the opportunity to have them say yes, but you also want to make sure you want to work with them. Is this going to be a quality partner? And assuming that it is, so let's wow them, right? Let's show them what we've got. The goal for me at the end of that, getting that yes, get to the car Send them the text, send them a video. Hey, that meeting was unbelievable. I'm super excited to work together on that first deal. I'm already thinking through some of the different steps we talked about in terms of helping you and your business. Can't wait to get that implemented and chat about it next week. I'll be in touch, or we'll chat soon. I think setting the stage literally right after the meeting, putting it in that text, putting it in that video, and then essentially going and making sure you're following up and remembering. Do you have notes? I personally have a notebook and I've got every agent with their own page where I've got all the initial notes and then I've got all of the solutions, if you will. And so anytime I'm going to make a call, then maybe starting on that next Monday with the calls, I want to refer back to, hey, I know we talked about this, where is this? Or how is this coming along? Or can I help you do this? And I think really and truly, one, following up and saying or doing what you said you were going to do, and then prodding them along. And if you're not getting the response, it's continuing to key in on those, whether it was the value add, whether it was the thing that you said you were going to do or going to help them. I know specifically in some cases, I find agents really have three main areas that they need help. They need help either in prospecting, they need help in time management, or they need help with a team type thing. So,
Mhm.
for once, if it's prospecting, hey, I know we talked about getting together to do calls together. I got it on the date. You're still coming this Thursday, right? We're going to sit down. We're going to do the calls together in my office, or we're going to jump on Zoom and we're going to do calls together. It's just you almost coaching them and making sure you're holding them accountable. But you can't just walk out of that meeting and say, great, I got them. Let's move on to the next person. And you're done. Like that's not, it's the follow up and it's the
Mhm.
continuous follow up that's really going to make it happen.
It sounds to me, of course, we know with our daily success plan, we have our meeting, and then we have the two-step close, we have a second meeting. Then of course we move to a weekly follow-up. But it sounds to me like you're saying that, hey, maybe for the first month or two, it's more than that, right? You're saying kind of put the schmooze on a little bit more intense for a period of time
I mean, how
at
bad
the
do you want it?
beginning.
Like at the end of the day, similar to dating, like if when you met that partner, if you're married or dating and serious relationship, did you go and you kind of got that, first kiss or something, and then you say, yeah, I'll just call him once a week?
Mm.
Like, doesn't really work that way, does it? I mean, if you're really interested, it's got to be more than that. You really got to show
Yeah,
them you
but
love them.
Tom, you don't understand. I don't want to be a pest.
Mm.
You've gotten the permission. They want to work with you. They've told you they like you. They gave you that first kiss. Like, and I'm not saying like stalk, call, text, email, but follow through on what you said, and whether it be in your voicemail, whether it be in your video, whether it be, some type of communication. I always try and refer back to what we discussed in that meeting and kind
Mm.
of hold them. Now, understand that not every single one's going to work out. And, we talked about it a little earlier, like at the end of the day, there are odds of percentages. People are going to say yes just to say yes and get you off their back.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, it happens, but it's a numbers game, and we have to recognize and understand it's not personal, but we can't just expect when they say yes, it's over, we've got them, we're done. And I
But
think
Tom, you don't understand. I don't want to beg. Like I don't want to seem desperate.
we're not begging. We're working together. That second meeting, and that's why that second meeting is so important, is we're coming together to create opportunities for business. We're I'm not begging for deals. I am not a parasite. I do not take deals. We work together to create deals, to make things happen, to make you better. And I think that's the mindset. I think a lot of us across the board, and maybe not so much on here, is we feel we're just taking, we're just taking, we're just taking. And so we're afraid to make that call. We're afraid to follow up because we feel like we're just begging. We're not providing value. If you're truly providing value, if you're truly providing and being a partner, it's not a begging thing. This is a we're working together to build business. If you're
Mm.
acting like you're just taking, yeah, I can understand why you wouldn't want to call. I wouldn't want to call either. You're a pest. But that's not your mindset. The mindset is we're going to work together. I'm going to help you. Come to my office. Let's make those calls together. Let's sit down and let's map out that calendar so we can make sure that we have things, where you need it to be. Let's get together and let's put together your database so we can send out the mailers or we can put together, our call lists or we can, whatever it may be. We all know what we need to do to be successful. All we need to do is translate that and coach and help the agents. Most agents have no structure, no accountability, nobody there to help them succeed. If you help them succeed and you take the principles of everything that we teach for us to do to them, you will have them for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I like the fact that Carl, that Tom's saying, he's making his notes on that first meeting, right? So
Mm-hmm.
he's figuring out what the need is, what's, where he can help. And then on the second meeting, closing, hey, let's do this together. But then on that follow up, he's always referring back to what was discussed at that meeting, because if you can always go back to what the need is per that first meeting, then you really are resonating with it. So we think of value, providing value isn't necessarily I'm going to pay for your Zillow leads, or I'm going to give you this widget to play with or anything like that. The real value here is oh, you're weak in your prospecting. Maybe we can do this together, right? So when he's coming back, where some would perceive it as being a pest or whatever, he's not. He's going, how's that coming? Can we do it together? Let's get together and do it. So he's reinforcing the solutions to what their problems are. That's real value at that point.
I've often thought, Tom, I think you nailed it on this one, man. It's the I feel like I'm a parasite when I don't know. I actually have been an interesting thing. I know it'd be easy enough to find the answer to. Maybe Justine can grok it here real quick. What percentage of people that buy a house have to do financing? Grok that real quick, Justine. My suspicion is that 80% of the people that buy 80% of houses have a at least originally have a mortgage on it, and that if we don't close their loans, if we don't get what's that number, Justine?
That's like 70.
It says over here around 74% of US home buyers use financing and mortgages.
Perfect. So 3 out of 4 of their deals wouldn't happen if they didn't have a loan officer working with them on that file, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I've always thought, gosh, one of my best partnering things that I've always done is closing those leads that they're not closing because they're not following up with them, right? Because like you said, I find real estate agents are really, really good at lead generation, i.e., people calling their listings,
Yeah.
right? And open houses. I think they're masters of that. I think they, generally speaking, are just horrible at the follow up because they got so many leads coming in, they can't follow up with them all. And so partnering up, which we call that the follow up, refer back. I'm going to follow up on all their clients with them, for them, along with them, not instead of them, but along with them, follow up on all their leads and just convert more of their leads. Hell, I'm depositing big checks in their account every single month. So I think you nailed it on that one, buddy.
Absolutely. Providing value. Like, how can I help? How can I make them better? And whether
Mm-hmm.
it's following up or having them come over and following up together, anything, in my opinion, anything you can do together is only going to strengthen that bond. So telling them you're going to follow up for the leads is great. One step further, have them come to your office or you go to their office and follow up on the leads together because you're building that bond, you're creating and you're showing them they
Mm-hmm.
don't even know how to do it, to be honest with you.
Mm.
So that's why you want them there so you can teach them how to follow up as well. And again, the bigger they get, if it's through what you have taught them and or helped them with, the bigger you're going to get because they're going to attribute that to you at the end of the day.
I'm going to tell you a conversation I had about 2 weeks ago with an agent. I popped into an open house, right? Because I was looking around the neighborhood. I'm a non-producing branch manager. Just put that out there, right? So I popped in. It was one down the road here in a little area called Crystal Beach, cute little house, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. So I popped in to see actually more to look at the house than anything else. And of course, me being who I am, I gotta ask them questions, right? I can't help myself. And so I told her who I was, and she goes, "Yeah, I know, I've seen you around, right?" And I said, "Hey, let me ask you something. So, like on these, like I'm not asking for it, right? But on your sign-in sheet, she had 11 names on there that had signed in so far, and she confessed that the first one was her son, right? Because you always see the list with one
Get
name, right?
someone.
So she had 10." And I asked her, I said, if you don't mind me asking, like, what is your follow up with your open house attendees? And you know what her answer was? And this was a smart lady, right? This was a smart lady, and I looked up her numbers afterwards, and she was a well qualified. She wasn't what I'd call a top, but she was what we would call qualified. Like I think she was like at 13 buy sides for the year, so she's well
That's good.
qualified. Yeah. So and even more listing. But you know what her answer was when I said, "What does your follow up on them look like?" You know what her answer was?
Hmm.
What do you mean?
Yeah, right. I,
I thought that was very, and I'm not making fun of this lady, right? Because she's very
no,
successful, makes good money, and she can list homes way better than I can, right? Because I've never listed one. Uh, what do you mean? And I thought, wow, isn't that interesting? And there's just so much value there that even to these top producers, what do you mean follow? What would that look? What her question was, well, what would that look like, Carl? That's what
Hmm.
she was really asking, right? And so I thought that was interesting.
she's using that list to go back to her seller and say, look at how many people we had
That's
come through.
exactly what she's
She's
Hmm.
doing.
not
Yeah.
thinking about the opportunity that it presents to create
Mm.
additional business.
She's
Even if
retaining her
one of those
listing.
10,
Hmm.
one of those 10, that's another, what's the average commission? I don't know the average sales price, but it's probably 10 to $20,000.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mm.
I thought that was very, very, very interesting. Again, I'm not making fun of her, right? But I
Yeah.
thought that was. But you're absolutely right. She's using that to retain her listing more than seeing all the new opportunities there. Well, frankly, she's just focused on a different area, right? And it's working well for her. But holy cow, missed opportunity there that any one of us on this call today can help these agents out. So I think oftentimes, Tom, an issue comes up that we don't know everything that we know, that we assume everybody knows this stuff.
Yeah.
They don't.
No.
You're hanging out with a very
Mm.
unique crowd of people. So good stuff, Tom.
Mm.
Yeah, share.
Yeah,
So
Tom,
Yeah.
thanks so much. One of the
absolutely.
things that Tom brought up, and we have talked about it a little bit before, is that two-step close. The first meeting is to get to the second meeting. That's a real key piece to getting the ball rolling with these with your agents, right? That you want to do business with. Super, super key. If you're not a member, you're interested and want to learn more about the two-step close. Let us know. Reach out to the main office. Give Kristen a call or Jen. You can put you're interested in the chat if you want to learn more about the two-step close because that's kind of a really big piece of the puzzle.
It's a big piece.
But yeah, so but anyways, wow. So Tom Merritt, man, thank you so much, brother. Man,
Thank
really,
you.
really, really appreciate you being here. And
Hey, can I share one more thing? So and I'm sitting here. We talked about this in the green room. I'm debating: is this a good place to mention? Is this what? It's just such a fascinating stat that I just have to throw it in here. So I just saw this stats of poker players in Las Vegas, and this was a fascinating thing. Listen to this real quick. So the average person, of course, loses money to the house in poker, right? Everybody knows that, right? That's why they got these 150-story gold-plated buildings, right? It's not because they lose. So the average poker player in Las Vegas loses money. And you know why they lose money? Is because they play every hand. And you go, well, what do you mean? So how it works is when you're dealt a hand, I can look at my hand and I can decide to play, and i.e., I'm going to bet on this hand, and then they hand me, depending on what game, let's call it Texas Hold'em, and then they're going to give me three more cards, to play with, right? But when I get my first two, I decide then, is this a hand I want to, because every time I get a new card, I got to put more money in the pot, right? I'm betting on it.
mm,
And
mm,
so do I look at my two and go, yes, I'm going to play this. Let me put some money in the pot. Or do I, no, this is not a good hand. I'm going to fold this before I even start. So the average poker player in Vegas plays every hand. The average professional, like these are the cats that we watch on TV and they got the World Series bracelets. The average amount of hands they play is 1 out of 14. They fold 13 out of 14 times.
Wow.
And so I'm sitting there going, all right, how does that apply to me? And I think what that applies to me is I just need to play a lot of hands, which affords me the privilege of folding a lot of hands and only playing with the winners. But
Hmm.
if I'm only playing one hand a day, I got to play that hand. But if I'm talking with 14 agents a day, I only need one out of that 14 to be,
Hmm.
man, that Tom, I really liked him. And I don't judge if he liked me, right? Because I'll sacrifice myself. Well, I don't think he liked me, so I'm not gonna follow up. No, 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 you can't play that. Did I like him? Did I respect him? Is his ethics the same as mine? Like, does he seem like the kind of guy that, that me and the lovely Mrs. White would hang out with anyway? Even if he's younger, oh, that doesn't matter. But is it the same kind of culture and work dynamics and stuff like that? I only need one out of 14 as long as I'm talking to 14 a day. Now, if I'm talking to one a week, I need every single one, and you're going to be like most poker players. You're going to lose. So the name of the game is volume. You got to play a lot of hands, and you only have to play one out of 14. I thought that was just fascinating.
I guess that to further the analogy, I guess it's the first meeting with the agent counts as that. Am I going to play this hand or not? Would that be fair or no?
Oh, for sure. Because like I remember like I don't know like Bill. First time I talked with Bill, I went, "This is my kind of guy."
Yeah.
I love he's got that dry humor. I just love it. He's smart, but he kind of downplays it a little bit. Like he's not waving around, hey, look how smart I am or anything.
Hmm.
But we all know he's very, very, very high level, like intelligent. I just love his vibe. And I knew it the very, very, very first time. And, there's other people I meet first time. I go, ugh. I feel like I need to take a shower after I talk with, you know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
it's just, or they, they're bragging about maybe some of the escapades they did in Vegas, kind of thing. And it's just, well, it's okay. It's just not my style. And so, absolutely, I think that very first meeting. But I've learned, Frank, I can't go. I don't think Bill liked me, so I'm not going to follow up.
Right.
I just
Yeah.
didn't get a good vibe. I don't think he liked. I don't think I impressed him. I can't do that because my imposter syndrome will say that to everybody that I talk to. Everybody.
Right.
So I can't listen to
Yeah.
that one. It's like, did I like her? Did I like him? Is
Mm,
is is Christine Smith the kind of person I want to hang out with? Yeah, me and Maria, that's
mm,
she's the kind of people we hang out
mm,
with.
mm.
So you just have to, yeah, I think, but you got to play a lot of hands. That's the secret to all this. You got to
Right.
play a
That's
lot
the
of hands,
point.
and that's
Right.
where the accountability that Tom talks about. Uh, you got to play a lot of hands. You got to whoever talks to the most agents wins. Period.
Mm,
End of
mm.
story. I don't
You
care
got to
how
have a
long you've
lot
been
of
doing
first
it.
meetings.
A
Yeah, a
lot of
lot of
first
first
meetings.
meetings,
A lot of
right?
first meetings,
Then you decide if you want to play that hand or not,
and then you
right?
decide if
For
you
the
want to play that
for the
hand or not.
second meeting, right? Because we're going for that second meeting to close.
Mhm. Yeah.
Interesting. What a cool analogy.
Anyway, I thought that was
Mm.
interesting. So,
It is interesting. Yeah. Good stuff.
hey,
All right.
Dolly played a lot of hands. That
Mm,
lady played a lot of hands.
mm.
That lady, what was it like? I think it was like, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, right before she died, she opened up. You know how you have the Buckies all over the place?
Yeah.
They're starting a Dolly's that's kind of very similar to Bucky's. It's a playoff. It's kind of a similar thing. And I went,
Yeah.
that's my girl. Here she is, 80 years old, not
Still
feeling her
going.
best, and she's opened up gas stations.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
yeah, she's just a dominant, dominant, dominant force. And she was a good. I heard I never met her, but I hear she was a really, really, really good person. That she helped a
Mm.
lot of people. So anyway.
Yeah. What was it? What does anybody know what why she died? What how she died? What it was? I don't know that. I didn't hear the answer to that.
I'm
It's
sure
been
it'll
kind of
be a
quiet,
lot of
isn't
things,
it?
but
Yeah, it's
I
been
heard
kind of
like she
quiet.
was saying
Yeah.
she was getting dizzy and
Oh, people
frankly,
they're saying cancer in the chat.
oh,
Uh,
okay, did not know that. Okay, did
yeah.
not know that. Yeah.
Mm,
Hey, but at 80, like
Good life.
good for her. We got all and to still be on her having her wits about her on a
yeah.
very, very high level.
Yeah.
Impressive lady.
Mm.
Yeah.
All right.
Married for 59 years, I think. Something like that, right?
What was that?
Really?
What was that, Bill?
She's married for 59 years.
Mm,
59 years. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Funny,
mm.
I never heard about Mr. Parton.
Me
Uh,
either.
and I'm not saying that to be funny. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever
I have
heard.
no idea.
No,
Yeah.
I could. Hey, he might have been like, and I'm not saying this to be funny, like a house husband. Like
That's what he
he
wanted.
managed a
Yeah.
household so that she could do what she did.
She was
Hmm.
Yep.
she was a super businesswoman.
That
You
she
know the
was.
song, that Whitney Houston sang, won the I'll always
I'll
love
always
you.
love you.
Yeah.
Anyway, Elvis wanted to sing it, but he wanted to take 50% of the royalties of it, and she's taught him to kick rocks.
Yeah.
So,
Huh.
And Elvis probably wasn't used to hearing somebody tell him to kick rocks.
Right.
that's it, man. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And she made so much money off of that. It's like the single highest grossing song, female release.
Yeah, she made more money other people singing her songs than her.
Yeah. What a
Yeah.
trip.
Smart lady. Anyway.
Smart people, man. Smart people. Well, hey, we're surrounded by a bunch of smart people here. Let's go out and get it today, guys. What do you say? Right? Let's go get
Thanks,
it. You
Tom.
guys have a great day. Tom Merritt, thank you so much,
What's up,
brother.
buddy?
Appreciate you having me back. Carl White, we'll see you later. Kristen, Jen, Justine, and the rest of y'all. See you here tomorrow. Adios.
Wonderful day, everyone.